Do you want me to be closer so that your head looks smaller? Just kidding.
Big ass head.
Yeah. Legs.
All right, what is up, guys? What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have a guest, and his name is Brian Lee.
Hello.
And he also has a YouTube channel. So tell us more about your channel, Brian.
Yeah, hello, I'm Brian. I have a YouTube channel. I can hear the dog. I do have a YouTube channel that centers around fashion, sneakers, specifically men's fashion. So if you like that kind of content as well, go ahead and check it out. I don't have a lot of stuff on there, but I hope you still enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a really great channel. It's very informative, and if you're interested in street fashion and shoes, and if you're a sneakerhead, you're probably gonna enjoy it a lot.
That's me.
And yeah, he's gonna be visiting this channel every now and then to talk about movies.
Every now and then? Really? In the future too?
Or not, I'm not. I love this guy, and he's on the channel now, and we're just gonna be talking about SpiderMan Far From Home.
Yes.
And if you're wondering why I have an ice pack, it's because I get really sweaty, and if you know me, I'm like the sweatiest person in the world.
Specifically only sweaty around me,
Yeah.
just because I make him flutter a lot.
Oh, let's get to it.
If you're hearing this, welcome to Brandon's new channel, ASMR. We'll start with some male sounds.
All right, so first talking point for SpiderMan Far From Home. Do you want to get straight into that mid-credit scene? That thing was wild.
Yeah, that was, besides the very beginning, I would say that was top 3 moments of the film for me, for sure. I did not expect J.K. Simmons to be back in his character as J. Jonah Jameson.
Okay, so how do you feel about, I guess I would transition the conversation into, how do you feel about this new Spider-Man, this new take on Spider-Man, and how it's connected to the MCU?
I do think Tom Holland as Spider-Man and the way that the Marvel Studios has kind of constructed and branded the new Spider-Man for the MCU is probably my preferred one so far. I know that people still really attach themselves to the Raimi Spider-Man and everything because that is still a very good way to build the character.
Yeah.
But I do prefer Tom Holland.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was wondering what your take is because I have a personal bias for Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
And just what Sam Raimi was able to do with those movies. And I wanted to get into that in my non-spoiler review, but it would have been like a 30-minute video. And
so we can get into it here then, I guess.
So you love the Sony Spider-Man films that came before, except the Amazing Spider-Man ones, right? I feel like we had that conversation.
We had a conversation about it. I do really like, especially the first 2 Raimi films. When I rewatch them, though, I don't really find myself being as fond of the first one as much.
Okay.
Just because not a lot of things hold up, and I realized that a lot of the way that they're all Raimi films. They're structured the way that Raimi likes to film his movies in general, not just in a comic book style and everything, and not just because it's a comic book character. So I think I'm not really attached to the way that he makes movies and stuff, but I still really like them, especially Spider-Man 2, because great villain, great way to develop Peter Parker in his own movie. I still have gripes with it.
Yeah.
But
which one specifically?
Gripes? My gripe?
Like the big, everyone points to Spider-Man 3. But looking back, Spider-Man 3, I feel like
I still like Spider-Man 3. I still really like it.
Parts about Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion, though.
Yeah. Like, I have fond memories of it just because when it came out, I was still really young. Obviously, when I look back on it, objectively, it's not a great movie, but I still really like it just because of for the sake of it's the last movie in a trilogy. Yeah. And I still think it capped off what Raimi tried to do without studio intervention, of course.
Yeah.
In a still, like, I guess, cohesive way, as much as he could do with whatever studio overhead that was imposing on him. So, yeah.
So, okay, so touching on J.K. Simmons being in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that's great. And it's not just J.K. Simmons coming back, but it's also what he introduces at the very end of the movie and that kind of big cliffhanger. So, how do you feel about that?
Well, at first, I couldn't really understand. I couldn't get the information that was being proposed into into a mode of processing as much as just kind of being bewildered by the fact that it's J.K. Simmons in the MCU again.
Yeah, but he's bald.
But yeah, first he's bald, and he's just a ripoff of Alex Jones Infowars, which I think it's great because you don't want to do exactly what's been done before. Doing just the traditional newspaper style it could have been fine, but I think the way that Marvel Studios always twists things into its own thing is always the preferred method in my opinion. So that's why I really did like the take on this is a not super credible source of information, but it makes sense and it still fits with the J.K. Simmons or the J. Jonah Jameson character.
Yeah, I think someone made a really good point. Oh yeah, I forgot. So yeah, my sister's dog is gonna be in the background occasionally, so we'll just cut around it.
It's not the dog. It's just the sister.
That's my sister, Elsie. Hey, Brittany, get back inside.
Be quiet. Anyways,
she doesn't watch any of these videos. We're good. What was I saying?
You were talking about J.K. Simmons,
right? So someone made a really good point, and I think it was on Twitter or something. But they said that it's not necessarily J. Jonah Jameson changing for the MCU, but it's more like the world's changed around the movies, so that him being a barking kind of head of a newspaper or a web blog or something like that makes sense for this world because, like you said, Alex Jones exists and that kind of personality exists in this world, and it
makes more sense with the times. Like newspapers aren't as prevalent as they used to be. Traditional news isn't as prevalent, so it makes sense for a character like that to be found online in that type of platform. So I liked it.
I'm like, I don't know what it's gonna be. I don't know what the dynamic's gonna be, but that also.
What if he's MJ's dad, dude?
That's too much, man. That's too much.
What if though?
That's too much connecting.
Okay, yeah, it's true.
But what if the coach
is MJ's dad? they got it. What's the actor's name again?
Hannibal Buress.
They got to. I was asking you about that. Why didn't they bring back Hannibal Buress? The gym coach was actually a highlight in Homecoming.
Well, they did like some marketing for they did a commercial together. Where,
did they?
They weren't in character. They were calling each other Tom and Hannibal. So.
Oh, okay. I mean, I guess they replaced Hannibal with JB Smoove, which was fine. But
yeah, I guess I'd kind of want to get into the side characters as well.
Wait, but let's talk about the actual content of the mid-credit scene, though.
Okay, yeah. Later we'll get into some of the side characters because I felt some things about that. But yeah, so what this kind of introduces is that Spider-Man's identity is revealed, Mysterio altered footage from when he died, and it's basically framing Spider-Man for murder. And so that introduces that, as well as the Daily Bugle existing in this world. So how do you feel about that cliffhanger?
Well, I think it was really parallel with the way that Homecoming ended first, because I think it ended with Peter saying, "What the?" and then it cuts. And the same thing happened in the first one with Aunt May saying, "What the?" after she discovers him wearing the spider suit. I don't really know what they're planning to do in terms of the next sequel for the Spider-Man franchise in the MCU. I don't know, besides Civil War, I don't know a lot of comic storylines where Peter Parker, where his identity gets exposed. You might be able to fill me in on it, but
I mean, that's the most iconic one.
Exactly, yeah. So I don't really know what they plan to do alongside it, but I'm interested because this is the first time that, outside of Tony Stark just flat out saying his name, that there's another superhero that his actual identity is revealed and is out there, and no one can question that there's a different person. So I don't really know what they're gonna do with it. I'm really excited for what it introduces. I just feel like, for me personally, I like that they did it, but I feel like it's very early, and some of Peter Parker revealing his identity so early in his high school career, it kind of feels a little bit jarring. But then again, this is a completely new take, and they're doing their own thing, and that's kind of what we were brought into when the events of Endgame happened. Like the spider suit was introduced way earlier than what it is in the comics. So I think it's, for me personally, having to detach myself from what I've read in the comics and what I've seen in the Sam Raimi trilogy. So I think it's going to take me some time to get used to, but as a movie, I think it
extremely entertaining, and I think that I like the direction they're going, but it's gonna take me some time to get used to.
Yeah.
So that's me personally.
And I think that Far From Home overall did end off Phase 3 well enough for it to also feel like it's a transition into Phase 4.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I don't really know what they're planning to do with the Skrulls, because the actual end credit scene was a pretty big doozy. Because does that mean secret invasion for what is Nick Fury doing on that huge spaceship with the rest of the Skrull population? Are they searching for more Skrulls? Are they looking for a home planet like they said in the end of Captain Marvel? Why would it take that long? So what are the gaps that need to be filled right there too?
Yeah.
So
that's kind of what I've learned with these series of movies, because I feel like each of these Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, they've been installments of, I guess, just as a timeline for the movies. I feel like each story connects to the next, and
usually
you find little things here and there. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know what I'm gonna be guessing. I don't know what to expect, but I feel like they have a plan.
Yeah.
Like so far, they've connected everything, and they did callbacks to Civil War and things like that, especially with Mysterio's technology. Yeah. So
I liked that, but I liked that.
Yeah. So at this point, I'm just like, you know what? Whatever they're gonna bring, it's gonna be fun. Yeah. But that's the thing I'm scared of, is that, are they just gonna be delivering us things that are just, safe? Until they wait till the end of the phase to make something big, right? And that's kind of what I felt with these movies, where I feel like, especially this phase, it's been kind of up and down in terms of how good they are. Because I feel like, Ant-Man and the Wasp was kind of average. Yeah. Captain Marvel was just the blandest thing ever. There was no seasoning on that meat. And what
are you talking about?
Did you like Captain Marvel?
I thought it was fine.
I thought it was fine.
It did its job.
That's what I mean.
It did its job. It had salt. No pepper.
No pepper, no paprika, nothing. It was just so bland, man. Yeah. But I feel like that's mostly because of the lead. And the lead can't be bland.
Yeah. So I feel like, that's a whole nother topic. But hopefully they rebrand Brie Larson's character in a way where that actually makes her interesting. Yeah. And also, hopefully they're able to distinguish what she does outside of the movie with inside the movie, and that's kind of on us as an audience as well. But yeah. Anyways,
next, what's the next one?
I guess we can talk about more pros. I
was gonna say Peter's a dumbass.
Yeah, we could talk about that too. That's kind of a gripe.
Yeah, Peter's a dumbass in this movie. As much as he is smart and he knows a lot about quantum physics, dude cannot see someone lying to him 2 feet in front of him. Yeah. It's not even the fact that it was a lie. He's emotionally distraught and he might be a little bit more vulnerable. But at the same time, it's you've met the guy and you've known him for
not even a week, let's say.
Not even a week.
Because the movie takes place over just a couple of days because it's a trip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've had 3 conversations. Yeah. Each less than 5 minutes long. Yeah. And you're just gonna give him these glasses. You're gonna give him these glasses that can destroy the world, basically.
Edith, launch the drone.
It's insane. I don't know. Did you feel that when you watched it? You're like, this is happening way too fast.
Well, I think it was hard for me to just set aside the fact that we know that Mysterio's a villain. Mm-hmm. As a comic book reader, as just someone knowing the character, he's obviously a villain. Yeah. He wears green. All secondary villains in Spider-Man wear. Yeah. All villains wear secondary colors
except the Hulk.
Except the Hulk, the Rhino.
Besides that, though,
I wanted to try to give Peter as much as a benefit of the doubt as I could, as a person that was just going back to school, or maybe just going back to school. He just came back to life. Mm-hmm. He's got to get used to this idea that it's 5 years after than what he's used to, and also he lost his father figure, which still should be Ben Parker. But anyways,
that's another thing I want to touch on.
Yeah, they just breeze through the fact that Ben Parker died. Yeah, and I think, I'll say this: Ben, they use Tony Stark initially, even in Civil War, and especially in Homecoming, as a way for him to be the one to teach Peter their whole "with great power comes great responsibility" thing. Mm-hmm. But Ben Parker's death is such a titular thing, like important thing in the development of how Peter Parker really becomes Spider-Man, that they shouldn't just gloss over it. And so that's one big gripe that I had with Far From Home is they still didn't address that, and I thought they would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that reference on the suitcase?
Yeah, it was BFP,
Yeah, that bugged me because at the end of the movie, when Aunt May picks up Peter, she's like, where's your luggage? Oh, it got blown up. That's right. I was like, that's your
response to a like a thing that has memories of your husband?
Yeah, it felt like such a slap in the face to Ben as a character. Unless he's like, in this MCU, he's a scumbag who left them or something.
Maybe.
And then she's like, oh yeah.
Because what if he didn't die? But then that changes the whole thing again.
Do you hear what the director said?
No.
So apparently John Watts said in an interview that it's up to
J. Jonah Jameson. It's up to J. Jonah Jameson.
J. Jonah Jameson's outside barking. So basically what John Watts said about the idea of Ben Parker in the MCU is that it's up for grabs for whatever the story kind of leads it into. So he could be alive, he could be dead. It depends on the story and how they service that. And
is he directing the third one?
I mean, it looks this movie's making money. It's tracking well.
So he probably will.
Yeah, unless he wants to explore different projects and go back to doing indie films. But it like that Marvel money, man, it's good money. I don't see any directors leaving that anytime soon. So that's just one thing I wanted to introduce into this subject because Ben Parker, like you said, it's pivotal towards.
That was the word. I said
titular.
Titular.
But that's
titular.
You just want to say tit.
No.
What else do we got?
Well, what'd you think of Jake Gyllenhaal as the villain in general?
That's good. That's a good one because I feel like I missed that in the actual review because you can't really talk about him. Like, I know it's pretty obvious that he is the villain.
Yeah.
He's basically one of the most iconic villains in Spider-Man's gallery. But this one, I was like, he's so flat in the first half. I was worried and concerned when I was watching it the first time. But then after second viewing, you get this appreciation for it because he's a guy who's trying to fool someone and he's playing it very safe. And he's not an actor. He's just a guy who's trying to pretend to be a superhero. So he's very flat, he's very serious, and he's just like no nonsense. But then in the second half, when he just kind of unfolds, he's like, get this super too. I was like, oh, this is what they're doing with it. So I really like that. I like the second half a lot. So what about you?
So I liked Mysterio as a villain. I think he serviced the narrative of the film very well for what they were trying to do. But I still don't think he was a better villain than Michael Keaton's the Vulture. I think I say that the Vulture is probably a top 5 villain in the MCU.
Oh, for sure.
I think he's so good. Yeah. I don't think Jake Gyllenhaal is better than him, but he still did really well. I think the way that he kind of plays this kind of drama queen in the second half.
I loved it, man.
It was really good.
I love that.
It was really good. And the way that he's so sadistic, it's almost off-putting. Or it just gets so put out there that he doesn't care about killing anyone. He'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
My problems with him is that his real motive is just like, I just want revenge at anybody who was in touch with Tony Stark. So it wasn't clear. I don't think he had a clear motive, in my opinion. Yeah. And even if he had a motive, it wasn't relayed to the audience as well as I wish it was.
Yeah.
Everything that he talked about in terms of why he's doing what he's doing was delivered. This is more of a cinematic thing and a kind of a production thing, but it was too exposition-y, especially at at the ending of the first act. The transition is obviously him taking off the costume. Like that's the beginning of the second act, right? Yeah. How do you start a second act with just exposition?
Okay, so I was going to touch on that because, obviously the best MCU villains, Malekith, Red Skull.
Yes!
The list goes on.
Oh my gosh, yes! Give me the Yellow Jacket any day.
Oh, I love Yellow Jacket.
I love Yellow Jacket.
He's so fleshed out. Well done. So I feel like that Mysterio is up there with Killmonger.
I think he's like tier 2.
But I'm going to say Killmonger because I don't think Killmonger is as great as everyone sets him up to be. So that's
you think he's kind of overrated a little bit?
Not overrated. I think there wasn't enough of him in the actual movie, and not enough relationship building between them and the character. And that's what I felt like for this movie, is that I feel like Mysterio and Peter's relationship needed to be built up more, but it was just so unbelievable. And that turn from him being evil was just so quick and kind of unearned. And that's how I felt with Killmonger, Black Panther. I feel like they needed to interact more. They needed to have more dialogue where they're talking about ethics and things like that and what they believe in.
Yeah.
But there wasn't enough of that. And that's why I thought Killmonger was great, but he was kind of wasted potential. And that's why
they killed him.
Yeah. Exactly. Same thing with Mysterio. That's how I feel. And I'm just like, he could have been such a much more interesting character if they gave him more relationship, more dialogue with the character.
Yeah.
And I don't know, built that up a bit more.
Did you think he was actually from another universe though? Because I'll be honest, I really believed it. Mm-hmm. I genuinely thought that he was from 833, like Earth 833. Yeah. He was somewhere there. I knew that he was still the villain in this movie, but I really thought they were gonna play into this whole multiverse thing. Yeah. And I think that might have played a part in my expectation or my feelings about him as a villain, because I thought they were gonna go into this idea of he came into this Earth because his got destroyed or something, and he was the Tony Stark in Earth 833. Yeah. And he wanted to take over Stark Industries here, or something related to that. Yeah. So I thought he changed his name from Tony Stark to Quentin Beck for the sake of keeping up this facade. Yeah. So I think that might have played a part. I don't know.
There's so many things to unravel with this character, and not like, oh, it's like deep and serious. Like, in the end, he's a drama queen, and he doesn't like that Tony took his technology and called it barf, and basically fired him for being crazy. And also, I didn't like the fact that he uses his real name. Like, I don't know if that's like his pseudonym that he uses.
Quentin Beck?
Yeah.
That is his real name, right?
And I did research.
Right.
This guy. Yeah. And no one was like, oh, Quentin Beck. You mean the ex, like Tony Stark?
You mean the guy that got fired?
Yeah, the guy that got fired, who might have a vendetta. Like, there's no connection there. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of strange. Maybe they'll address it in the future. But yeah, like this, I feel like this character was wasted potential. And I really hope they didn't actually kill him off. I hope it's an illusion, because I feel like
so like a double illusion, because he was dead, but then he was shot. So he's like dead there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it serves the story, but I kind of want him back,
like a twist kind of thing. Because he could have fit in so well with the Sinister Six, and I think that's what they set up technically in the mid-credit scene for Homecoming. Yeah, with the Vulture and Mark something Gargan.
Yeah,
Mark
Gargan. Yeah, and then don't forget about those Amazing Spider-Man movies, because they set that up so well, and I just really wish...
No, they didn't!
I just really wish we got a taste of that. No, not at all. So yeah, I think we talked everything about Mysterio as possible. I mean, except that one sequence.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, I was floored, man.
That part actually tripped me up so much. I think I would put that over the Doctor Strange sequence.
Yeah.
The trip.
I'd put on the same.
I thought that was so good, because I was so confused about what's going on. I was like, wait, what is actually real? Yeah. But then I think that sequence also kind of revealed, and this is being really nitpicky, but like, how does the technology actually work? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because before Mysterio had Edith and had all the access to the drones and everything, he was still able to create these 4D projections, and they were still interactive. Like, you could still feel everything that was going on from them. But I mean, like, why did he really need the drone? I guess it's just to amplify
the drones illusions. Are basically projecting them onto 3D objects and then changing. That's why I kept messing with Peter's depth perception, because what you perceive in the hologram, you think that's actually there, or you think you're falling because things are moving around you. Kind of like when you're on a ride at like Disneyland or something. Place with your like.
So he couldn't do that.
Yeah, and it feels like you're dropping
without Edith.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I really like that. I think
that part was really cool.
Super creative. Yeah, with how they got the action and choreography and how they made Peter basically beat himself up. I thought that was so cool.
That was really sweet. And then I actually thought that was Nick Fury shooting Quinn in the I also thought it was every time I saw Jake Gyllenhaal wearing a mocap suit with the dual cameras, the face cameras and everything, I was like, are they just filming the movie? Are they just showing behind the scenes footage of the movie?
That's the brilliant thing.
It's almost meta in a way.
It's hilarious
because he's playing the actor, the director. He's talking to his production designer and his costume designer. It's like, I thought one of the funniest is the cape ready?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, it's still. I thought that part was
be shaking hands with the queen at any minute.
So all that, I think all that was great. I think Jake Gyllenhaal did his part.
Yeah.
And because I don't think they, in my opinion, I will disagree a little bit with the idea they wasted the character in the sense of Jake Gyllenhaal did really well with what he was given.
Yeah.
But I will say I probably would want him to come back in a future movie.
Yeah, and I think that's...
because he's cool.
Yeah, that's what I mean the most with just kind of like them killing off these really cool villains.
Yeah.
Killmonger, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Why'd you let him do that? Black
Why you kill him?
Hey, if you're gonna stab yourself, just do it. Like, I thought he would like stop him, kind of like...
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. The sacrifice serves like their story and their arc or whatever, but you know... For me, my personal thing is like I'd love to see him come back.
Yeah,
but that's just
it'd be great.
Yeah,
I think it'd be great.
Oh, dude.
Hey, it's recording, right?
Useless.
Is it recording?
It is recording.
Okay.
It's recording.
I just wanted to let you know that Brandon likes to keep spider people here, and he likes to tickle the pee-pees.
Yeah.
So get a digital zoom in on that later, editor.
Can you teach me how to do that?
I'll teach you.
I'm very basic with my editing.
Anyways.
Oh, what were we talking about? We're talking about textures.
The CGI and stuff. It was pretty awful.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We have a guest, by the way. We have a dog. You just can't see it.
We pick him up, buddy.
It looks... I'm petting the dog, I promise.
Oh, keep petting that dog.
Stop!
What?
Oh, I will...
Oh! Nah, okay, JJ. You've had enough. You've had enough to drink.
But you call your dick,
He wants
JJ?
out. Shut the fuck up. He wants out. You want out?
That's dogs, though, for you.
I know. I just want to, like, beat his ass.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
For the record,
I'm joking.
his career hasn't even started, and we get to expose him already.
Me just choking on a dog. I would never do that. That's just a really bad joke.
It's a lie. Okay, so we're doing a mukbang, Far From Home ASMR review.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Let's do it. So you were talking about costume textures.
Yeah, because they like
something about tugging
with with all the Marvel movies, especially after a certain number, like you can tell they all got formulaic, and so you can tell that heavily with the CGI that they do in the movies.
Yeah.
They all look great, but I just hate it, specifically with Spider-Man. Like they just replace everything. Even with Black Panther, like they have a well, okay, specifically
so bad, dude.
in the Black Panther movie, everything looked awful. But even in Infinity War, where it looked great. The movie, the costume looked great in Infinity War, and that's kind of a roast to Black Panther that they can't even get their own character right in their own movie. But they still replace everything with CGI in post, even in Infinity War and Endgame. And so I just really don't like it when they do that in general, and especially with Spider-Man, because my favorite character.
Yeah, it's frustrating, especially when basically all the movies up till the MCU have been pretty good at being consistent with having the suit, the actual physical suit on the actors.
Unless it's impossible.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I miss is that tangibility, being able to be like, oh, I know what that feels like. Except in the end of the movie when you kind of see him in the full suit.
Yeah, because when MJ's like swinging with him, like she's obviously holding something.
Yeah, she's obviously holding something, but
Yeah.
like when he like gets on the ground or when he like is interacting with people in New York, you can tell it's a real costume.
Yeah.
Like in Spider-Man Homecoming, stuff like that. And I wish there were more moments like that because that's when I was like, oh, that's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest example of that is Civil War, when I was just like, that was just all CGI.
Yeah, that's tough.
Like not a single because remember like the original suit for that had like the extra thick webbing in Civil War. So yeah, they ditched that.
Yeah.
And then they did the CG suit. So I don't know. I think they're improving, but it's gonna be a while.
I mean, I hope they just go fully with the real costume in the future movies, unless they get really good at it. In my opinion, I think I would prefer, let's say 85% real costume and then just CGI enhance the eyes, and then the ADR, like just put that in whenever he's talking, if he's talking, and then maybe just enhance the texture, but don't replace the texture. I think that's something that I want to see in the future. But we're not experts.
Yeah,
we're not experts. Ew.
We're far from it, man. That's all.
We're far
not
from
like
it.
watermelon. I don't know what I ate. Anyways, what's the next thing that we got? So, is that it for what you felt?
I had a couple more things.
Okay.
But
we're past 30 minutes.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about that much anymore. We can just go to the pros.
We can talk about it briefly.
Yeah.
I feel like our discussion goes on.
I mean, we talked about J.K. Simmons because he was great.
Yeah.
The mid-credit scene was great. Mysterio, I think we both agreed that he was a good villain.
Yeah.
I guess, do y'all want to start with the pro of the movie?
Oh, man, a pro of the movie. I feel like we did address some pros while we were kind of going through what we didn't like. But I think one of the biggest pros for me was the romance in the movie.
Yes.
I think that worked really well. Yeah, so how do you feel about the romance between MJ, not Mary Jane, MJ?
MJ. It's free real estate.
I've heard that so many times.
And it's still funny.
Damn. Okay.
It's still funny.
Yeah.
I really liked MJ. I think this movie got me sold on her being the Mary Jane of this Spider-Man franchise.
Yeah.
I was wary of it at first because at the end of Homecoming, she just so happens to reveal herself as, oh, my friends call me MJ. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I don't care who you are. I don't care what actor is playing the character or anything. It's just, can you fulfill the development of that character with this Peter Parker?
Yeah.
And I think Zendaya did that really well with this MJ. Michelle Jones, whatever her name is great. I think the awkwardness, using that as the banter between them two was really good, and it felt pretty realistic.
Yeah.
Like, if I was Peter and I went on a trip and one of the people on the trip was the girl that I liked, I'm pretty sure I would use that trip as the excuse to confess.
Yeah.
Like, who wouldn't do that? That makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
did you think it was weird that they're still using a dual headphone jack when
when this should like have
2025?
It's 2023.
Or
they're still using 2023 dual headphone jacks. Maybe the AirPods are on generation 7 or something.
I was like, all right, that's fine. You're a bit behind.
I didn't think about that, but
it's cute. It works for the movie.
It's cute.
Yeah. You think Tony Stark would give him?
you would think that he would just like, hey, put the mask on.
It's like, oh, MJ, you want to share this?
You want to share the mask?
Here. Sure.
Yeah, that's actually really
but
funny.
I'm not Spider-Man. All right,
sure?
Peter. That would solidify him as the biggest dumbass in this movie.
Exactly.
Did we talk about that?
Oh, we did. But to go on it a little more, this is a really big this is a huge nitpick, and so it's not even a. It's like,
oh my god.
Like but there's a line in the movie where Peter, and it makes me laugh just thinking about it. There's a line in the movie where Peter says, for the past couple of years, I've worked really hard to make my identity hidden. And I'm like, clearly you didn't.
You have not.
You introduce yourself to Captain America at the airport. You introduce yourself the moment you meet Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel.
Hey, I'm Peter.
And you can't even close the doors at your own apartment.
License and registration.
So that's just a small nitpick, but it just goes to show he's smart, but he's an idiot at the same time. Yeah.
I guess that would kind of go into another nitpick, but also a compliment to the movie, which is that relationship between him and Happy Hogan.
Oh,
I
that
really
was
like
good.
that.
That was good.
But did you catch that part when he's like, I'm in love with, well, of course you caught it, but I'm in love with Spider-Man's aunt.
Yeah.
Dude, the moment, I mean, they already revealed his identity at the end, but it's just like.
It's like you said that right in front of these kids.
If they see you with Peter's aunt, then cover's blown. They know it's like.
Yeah.
So, okay, whatever. I thought that was weird that they just threw that in there as a joke, but.
I'm sure it is a joke. I mean, right before that, he threw a shield and he was like, how does Steve do this?
That was one of the best jokes.
That joke was so good. It was so good.
So yeah, little moments like that, and I really liked. I liked Happy Hogan kind of as this guidance counselor. Sort of like this
he played the
Alfred
total
figure.
opposite of what his character was in the first Spider-Man one.
Yeah.
So I liked that. I guess there's compliments in terms of because this is still a comedy movie.
Yeah.
It's still like a high school kind of genre. I think I felt a little bit of the Marvel comedy too much though, because in Homecoming, it felt genuinely funny. I think that's actually a funny movie.
Yeah.
It's funny in a that's different from Ragnarok, from any time Robert Downey Jr. opened his mouth.
Yeah.
But with this one, it felt too familiar, and I think that it's good because it was still funny.
Yeah.
But I still felt that Marvel formula in the jokes.
Yeah, I touched on this in my solo review, but kind of that time that they're using to create these jokes from these side characters and these supporting characters, they're great. You know, I love them, and I like the whole high school vibe that they give off in this movie, and it feels like, you know, it's actual high schoolers going on a trip.
Yeah.
But I didn't like how it felt like it was kind of pressing pause on the movie story, and it kept like being like, here's a joke, and you're like, we'll use this time for something else.
It's like Ned and Betty Brant was hilarious the first two times.
Yeah.
But then they, like you said, they put a pause on the movie's progression of the narrative just for the sake of this 30 seconds of comedy that'll hopefully make you laugh. It's not even a guarantee.
Yeah.
Like Happy Hogan throwing a shield, that's guaranteed laughs, right? Peter Parker getting the song wrong or getting the artist wrong on the plane while he's making a suit, that's, for me, that's guaranteed laugh. But when you're overdoing certain I guess plot points, it just, I didn't like those moments.
That's what I felt like with the jokes. I was like, this, if I took out all the jokes in the movie that like didn't really land for me, that just felt like, oh, it's there to keep up this comedy vibe going, keep up this idea that this is a romance comedy or romantic comedy. If they took rom-com, that's just shorthand for the same thing. Oh, you know what? Whatever.
Brandon Rog.
We're gonna move on. No, I was gonna say, because I feel like if you took all those jokes that kind of landed flat, it would be like 10% of the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, that 10%
It's too much.
Yeah, like you can still have a humorous movie and like use that time to kind of develop certain relationships and dive deeper.
Like if they use the comedy between MJ and Peter the way they did with everybody, just the way it feels natural. It feels like it's in that moment it's meant to be. The timing of all the jokes and the banter is naturally funny. Then I think everything would have been fine. But there were too many points in the film where I was like, that joke didn't land. Oh, it was too forced, kind of thing.
And I think it was anytime that the main character Peter was away, and then it was just the characters having their own side stories and doing their own little gags. I was like, we don't need that. But anything that involved Peter and like the rest of like the main crew, like those jokes, they work for me because it kind of like it's putting Peter in an awkward position. That's just classic Peter Parker, just always getting like,
what am I supposed to say?
Always getting pooped on, and always running into bad luck. And I like those moments. So, like not to make it sound like poo-poo on this movie, because this movie had a lot of great things, but
I feel a little bit more divided on this movie than I feel like I would have been, honestly. It's still great.
How many times have you seen it?
I saw it once.
Okay.
And I do plan to go see it again just to really solidify my feelings.
Yeah, I'd say second time. Like,
did you like it better?
You notice more things about Maria Hill and Nick Fury.
Oh, okay. We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, we
talked about it a little bit, but like,
I like that.
The way that they weren't actually Maria and Nick.
Yeah, because it explains a lot. Because
they're dumb.
Yeah.
It's like Nick Fury wouldn't be that naive to just be like, oh, we gotta get them on track. We'll just hijack their trip. It's like that's a Nick Fury move, but like not in the way that it actually happened in the movie.
Yeah. Also, that blind trust in like this new character.
Yeah, that
like,
definitely would not happen. Like
Nick Fury would have like some sort of thing that he would have to test each person that comes in, tries to be an Avenger. Oh my God, he's coming back. But yeah, like I was like, there's got to be some explanation for that.
Like that's not. Like the whole one of the big character points of Nick Fury is he doesn't trust anyone, even if you're working with him. Yeah. And I guess he just threw that away. Yeah. And until he figured out he wasn't actually Nick Fury.
So that reveal at the end, I really liked that because it was like, oh, it explains so much and speaks so much to like how
Right.
how accurate Nick Fury is at pointing people out that he can't trust. And like,
Yeah.
I mean, except that stupid cat, but
Well, anyways,
that's a different movie.
yeah. Did you like how most of the movie was about Peter Parker just trying to live his life,
Yeah.
but he keeps getting pulled away from it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that was classic Spider-Man. And
Yeah.
classic like Peter.
It kind of felt like Spider-Man 2-ish, right? Where he's missing out on all these things. Like in Spider-Man 2, he missed out on the play because he had to go save some, or he had to go catch some goons.
Yeah.
He can't get food because his life just sucks. He gets slapped in the face by his best friend.
Where is the rent?
And I guess it felt familiar enough, I guess.
Yeah.
It was a twist on that, and I appreciated it too.
Yeah, I for me, I was hoping at the end of the movie that the mid-credit scene would kind of put Peter in a desperate situation, which it did, and I was so happy. And that's why I feel like that mid-credit scene improved the movie, and the last, like, what do you call end credit?
The end credit scene, yeah,
improved the movie. And for me, that's kind of a flaw of the movie as well.
Because that's not actually part of the movie.
Yeah, because the way the movie actually ends, if you don't include those end credit scenes or whatever, is that, you know, Peter gets
he just
the girl.
swings around New York.
Peter gets the girl. He swings around New York. He doesn't really lose anything.
Yeah.
Like, he won. He defeated the villain.
Yeah.
But so that mid-credit scene, I was just like, okay, there we go.
It was kind of like Ant-Man and the Wasp on a
Yeah.
lower scale, because in that movie, the mid-credit scene just was like, wow.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that made the movie like felt worth watching. It actually felt like, oh, okay, I guess it was worth watching it.
Yeah.
I felt like Spider-Man Far From Home was that on a smaller on a less negative scale.
Yeah.
Which isn't a inherent discredit to the movie, because it's objectively a better movie than
Yes.
Ant-Man 2.
Oh, much better.
Oh, yeah.
Ant-Man, I would give like a 6, man.
6?
Maybe even lower.
I like Randall Park.
I like Randall Park too, but like he doesn't save the movie. He
No, the
doesn't
trick.
trick.
How'd you do that?
That was the best gag in that movie. But yeah. Like, this movie, I feel like those end credit scenes made the movie better.
It improved it.
And kind of sold me on, you know, they are respecting the source material. They are putting Peter in positions where, you know, he can't recover easily.
Yeah.
Like, how is he going to get over this?
And that's like the life of Peter Parker. Always balancing personal, superhero, professional. Except now he can't balance anything because everything's messed up.
Yeah. So now I'm like, what are they going to do
Yeah.
next? Like, how are they going to get out of this? And, you know, like, it's exciting.
Do you think then the mid-credit scene might as well have just been the end of the movie? Like, they should have just made that the end? In my opinion, I think they should have.
I think they should have. But then again, like, a lot of people don't like it when you end a movie on a cliffhanger, because it sounds like it's setting up for a sequel. And a lot of people just want a self-contained movie. They're like, they're just setting up for a sequel. But like, that's what you should expect from any MCU movie.
Exactly.
There's gonna be a sequel.
Yeah.
But I get, as a movie, you want it to be a self-contained story that's not really open-ended.
Okay.
So I get why they do that. I get why these end credit scenes exist and they come afterwards. And also, they wanted to set up something big for this next phase.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I get it from a marketing perspective. So
Okay.
yeah,
Do you think that it ended Phase 3 well?
I think it
Because
did.
technically this is the last Phase 3 movie.
Yeah,
So you think it did?
I think it ended well enough. I would have liked it to come out later. To be honest, like not so close to Endgame, and I think that's what they're originally going to do.
Yeah, but then Sony was like, we're not this thing.
Yeah, I just felt like it was so soon after.
I mean, I get where you're coming from.
Because I'm still seeing Endgame memes coming through.
That's true.
And now Spider-Man's coming. A part of me is like, this is the right time for it to come out, but another part of me is like, I wish there's some more breathing time for Endgame to kind of, I don't know, soak in for everyone, because that's like a big movie. That's like 10 years of filmmaking built up to that moment.
Yeah.
And then it just ends with like a small Spider-Man story, self-contained. But yeah, it's a minor nitpick. Like, it's, I can totally.
It doesn't ruin the movie.
Yeah,
It doesn't ruin the movie. Okay.
All right.
I think the last thing I want to ask was, does Spider-Man Far From Home explain Hulk snap?
Okay.
The blip. Does the blip make sense?
Like people returning
Returning.
from where they. Yeah, because I've heard people say, like, what about people that are skydiving? What are they? Well, they had a parachute, didn't they? So, I don't know. Well, that would trip me out, but... What do you guys think?
I personally
30
really
people
liked
who
it.
follow me, huh?
I liked it. I thought it was hilarious. I think it downplayed the gravity. Okay, the opening of this movie was actually perfect in my opinion. I hear the dude when they use like Getty images and then a bad quality vision picture.
I was like, is there something wrong with the projector?
I was like, wait, is this isn't the movie? Is
Yeah.
it?
At a certain point, I was like, oh, it's definitely like the high school. But
And then it made sense.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like in an auditorium or something. And
Yeah.
The kids doing.
Do you think that the opening of this movie downplayed Endgame?
I've heard people say
Because
that.
people argue that, and I disagree with it.
I don't know. I feel like
But-
people are babies, but then again, I'm a baby about protecting Spider-Man as a character. So
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was funny.
I think it was
it was
completely
so funny.
fun. Like that's what kids would do, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
you have to
obvious-
make a tribute.
Yeah, you have to make a tribute and just like get any images you can find. Even though that
We need it by tonight.
yeah, I find it weird that they're like using stills from like the movie though. Like,
It's actual clips from the
do
movies.
these movies exist in
It's
the
not like
Marvel?
portraits
Yeah.
of the characters.
It's not like cell phone like pictures.
because it's vision floating. Like, was there a photographer at the airport?
It's a direct screen grab from Civil War, and I was like, how did they get that?
I thought it was great. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought that was fine. I didn't raise any questions for me. I didn't complain about it. When it happened, I was like, this is completely setting the tone for the movie. So, yeah, no complaints here. And it makes sense. Like, the people return from where they came, and that's shown in Endgame when when everyone's coming out of the portals from where they got snapped. Like, it just makes sense. So, no complaints here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me as well. Let's see what we're running at.
Your
We
mom.
got 9 minutes left. So, thank you, Brian, for joining me.
I'm not done.
You're not done? I'm just gonna take it off. Yeah, thank you, Brian, for joining me in this conversation. Yeah, man, plug your channel again. Do it.
My channel is called Brandon Co.
That's not. Thanks for plugging my channel. Brian's channel is called Brian's World. It's a fashion YouTube channel, like we said in the beginning. So yeah, go check it out. I'll put a link to his channel down in the description.
If anything, just follow me on Instagram, please.
Yes, follow me on Instagram. So plug your Instagram. if you
My
want.
Instagram is @OisBrianLee. You can just put a link in the description.
I'll put a link
though.
in the description as
Yeah.
well. And yeah, that's our spoiler discussion of Spider-Man Far From
It wasn't really a review. Yeah, it was more just like talking about the movie.
Yeah, no, it's just a discussion because
Yeah.
at this point, I don't want to do a structured review. That's too much editing.
Yeah.
Like I just
J.K. Simmons.
JK Simmons.
J.K. Simmons.
JK Films.
J.K. Simmons.
So yeah, thank you guys for joining me so much. And I always do this thing where I lean forward into the mic and I back out, but you know, you don't have to. So like always, guys, we will see. We
will see you later soon.
Alright, I'm out.
You can do a digital zoom in post. Yeah. I don't want to.